morning, 4th hour, and welcome to the Amanda and Cheryl Show.
You may recognize us from our hit movie, The Adventures of Amanda and Cheryl.
Today we'll be discussing the true story of the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks, and we're fortunate enough to have the author and two guests from the book here with us today to answer questions. But first, let's continue with our regular segment of What Grinds My Gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
What, Mandy?
When people take my cells without my permission.
That's the worst.
I know.
I hate that.
I know.
But you know what really grinds my gears?
What?
When all of my cousins marry each other.
That's so gross. Oh my gosh, why would
disgusting.
anyone do that?
I don't know.
That's psycho.
Psycho.
Wouldn't it really grind your gears if your entire existence and what you stood for wasn't recognized for 50 or more years later?
That would be the worst. I totally agree. But the one thing that's been really grinding my gears lately is being forced to read a book in English when all we want to do is graduate and move on with high school.
I totally feel you there.
Oh,
my goodness.
But anyway, let's bring out our first guest.
Here with us today is Rebecca Schloot, the author of The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which is a book about an African-American cancer patient whose cells were taken without permission and how the cells changed modern science as well as Henrietta's entire family.
Thanks for being on the show, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me.
So we have a few questions for you today. What was your relationship with Henrietta Lacks?
Well, I never personally knew Henrietta Lacks because she died over 40 years ago. But as I was writing the novel revolving around her, I felt like she was by my side, and anybody that read her book could also feel that she was by her side.
So, writing this novel, obviously you had to have some sort of interest in writing about Henrietta. What sparked your interest?
Well, in my college biology class, which took place over 37 years ago, or 37 years prior to the novel, my professor was talking about cell culturing and immortal cell life, and he wrote Henrietta Lacks on the board, and all he said was that doctors took the cells from her without her consent. And what sparked my interest was, what's behind this story? Why did they take her cells?
Very interesting. So how do you feel about HeLa cells?
I think they're an incredible breakthrough for medical science. They're still used today, and they're used in a lot of vaccines and medicines, and obviously it was wrong that they took the cells without her consent, but still they're used for a lot of good purposes today.
How did the cells impact your life?
Well, at one point, they were my whole life. I actually divorced my husband because he was in the way of me writing this book. He didn't agree with what I was doing, and ultimately he was in the way of the whole book.
So what importance does Henrietta have in your life?
Well, I believe that everyone can learn from Henrietta's story. The injustice, the justice, the good, the bad. Everyone can learn from all of it.
Yes, yes.
So, what was your purpose in letting everyone know this information?
Well, the whole purpose was to bring justice to Henrietta and her family. The whole world needed to know the story, and they can learn from it, essentially.
So thank you for being on the show, Rebecca, and it's time to bring out our next guest, Gladys Lacks.
Thank you.
Our next guest today is Gladys Lacks, Henrietta's sister.
Welcome to the show, Gladys.
Thanks for having me.
So what was your relationship with Henrietta?
She's my sister.
What was it like growing up with Henrietta?
Well, Henrietta and I didn't grow up together because we lived in different houses. When we were together, we would bicker quite often, but I was still devastated when she passed.
How do you feel about HeLa cells?
From what I've heard, they're very important in science and such, but my family and I were kept in the dark for most of it.
Oh my god. That must have been hard. How did your family react to the news about Henrietta's
We were all
cells?
confused at first and angry, but it's hard when your family struggles so much with making ends meet, and to find out that Henrietta's cells were selling for so much, we really didn't know what to do.
How did Rebecca Schloot help or hurt your family?
She helped bring out understanding and to get the accurate story out there. Without her, we would probably still be lost.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. Now, time to bring out our last guest, Margaret Gay.
Thank you for being with us today, Margaret. Now, what was your relationship with Henrietta?
My husband and I were the ones who took the cells from Henrietta.
How do you feel about the HeLa cells?
I think they're a huge breakthrough in the medical field, and the Lax family should be happy knowing Henrietta's cells have helped so many.
How did the cells impact your life?
They have shown me new discoveries in science can be found every day, and how important it is to keep searching through discoveries because you never know who they can help.
How does your feelings toward Henrietta change during the experiment?
During the cell extraction, I felt sympathetic to the pain Henrietta endured and felt connected to her on a personal level.
What was your involvement in taking the cells?
I assisted my husband in the extraction and the experimentation of the cells.
Thanks for being on the show today with us, Margaret, and thank you to all of our guests for being here. Now a word from our sponsors.
The Amanda and Cheryl Show is brought to you by Hydro Flask, keeping your drinks cold for up to 24 hours.
You see my forehead.
Your whole hair, like, it was like here.
I look like that, but I
Yeah. And what was your purpose in letting everyone know this information?
Oh my god.
I didn't read this answer.
How did Rebecca's glute help or hurt your family?
She helped bring out understanding, and then I don't know.